The things I was hoping to get for this thing is the starter motor. Um, I don't even know if they were an option on these cyclones, but the motor itself, this Keurit's engine, does have the spot for it. And I've never even seen a starter motor for sale anywhere. A buddy of mine turned me on to this auction that's happening right now for a new old stock, complete with brackets, wiring, everything. And I put a bid on it, but it was pretty pricey, and I thought I better just run out. I went back, I deleted my bid. I thought I'll run out and just make sure the flywheel that I have is going to fit. I was 90% sure it would, but then I opened my cover and this flywheel already has the ring gear for a starter motor, so that's a happy bonus. So I think I'm going to go back inside. It's like 3 in the morning right now, and it's a 24-hour. The auction goes 24 hours from the last bid, and I think I'm going to try and sniper it at 3 a.m. That'll take me till 3 a.m. the next day, and trying to sneak in under the radar and throw that bid in and hope no one else catches it or sees it. So that's my plan. But again, it's pretty pricey, so I want it to be a lot more sure that what I'm doing is the right thing. Otherwise, I'm gonna have a motor. I'm sure I could probably resell it, but yeah. So I'm gonna go bid on that thing. That'd be pretty sweet if I can get it. So that's an update. Got my throttle cable today. Put that in. It doesn't really do me any good. I still need the choke cable. But I did find a line on a aftermarket starter, so kind of stalled right now until I get that starter. And once that comes in, I'll pull the motor. And I didn't realize that these things, the Cyclone came with the tach, or it was an option. So now that I know I can do that, I have spare tach, so I'm going to install that too. And I think that's it. So yeah, that's kind of neat. Oh, and then since I can get the starter, well, hopefully, I guess I'll have to wait and see. But if I can get the starter, then I got an awesome spot for the battery box. Tons of room right here. I'll actually drop it right over the hole for the exhaust. Come on, work with me. And then that'll be nice for my cable runs. Yeah, the battery here. I got plenty of room. I'll have plenty of room to install a solenoid. So that's going to be kind of neat. I think I'm good now. I'm wondering, if I couldn't move the CDI, but I don't know if there's any point. Move the CDI off to the side here. Maybe not. So it's coming along anyway. So here's the next big question is, if I'm going to take the motor out, I'd have opportunity to come in. Obviously I'll clean the belly pan again, but how far do I want to go? Should I paint it? Or is there no point? I mean, I'm not, it's everything I'm doing here is custom. How far do I really want to go underneath? So I was going to redo the hood, repaint the hood, and I was going to splash some green on the underside just to cover up the fiberglass work. If I do that, I'm going to have a pretty ugly pan. So I'm just wondering, should I do that or not? Like, yeah, how far do you want to go? Then pull the tank and strip the whole machine down again? I don't know if I want to. Oh, I guess I'll wait and see if that starter comes in, or when it comes in. Make the decision from there. Because, like, man, a guy could go through the whole thing. I could pull the hood brackets, paint everything up again, get rid of the, well, I think I will anyways. Just touch up the stuff that I can, but I don't know about the pan. Maybe I should just leave it original, get the grease out of it, and then clean up the rust on everything else. Might possibly do that. Once I realized these machines, the Cyclone could take a tach, it started to hurt my head because I forgot to think a little bit. But I'm looking at the schematics, cyclones and liquefier snowmobiles, and I'm looking at the tach and how it should wire. So I'm looking at, this is obviously just to power the light, the yellow, and then I got, let's get rid of that, and then I got red and yellow with a red stripe. So I was thinking in terms of DC only, and I look at red goes to the brown brake light switch, to the headlight switch. Okay, so for me that's DC, that's power. So the tach gets power there. But then I look at the yellow with red stripe, and that goes to black, goes to the key, and the other side of the key is the kill switch, so that goes to ground. So this is where I got a little bit confused again, because I was thinking in terms of DC, and I was wondering where the actual input signal is coming from. So maybe this will help others, I don't know, but I forgot about the AC component. So for all intents and purposes, you know, everything that's getting power on these machines is DC. But the tach wire goes, it ends up tracing all the way back to the black wire. So we got the terminal block from the chassis back to the engine, to the black wire, which is actually the yellow. So all your power is coming from the alternator or a stator. Green, yellow, green becomes brown, brown effectively becomes DC power, and you've got your one wire voltage regulator. And then black effectively for DC becomes ground for your bulbs and everything else. But on the AC side, this black wire traces all the way back. How can I do this? Back to here, traces back. So from the yellow, this is your input, your impulse wire. Yellow, red stripe goes to the black wire, traces all the way up to the engine block, the terminal block of the chassis, which is black, goes through here, it's black, goes to the engine coupler. That's that little, it's a 5-pin white plastic block. which is actually the yellow from the alternator. Boy, that was it was starting to hurt my head figuring out how that tach actually gets a reading. So I have two of these. I don't know if they work. I'm going to assume that they do. The other thing I discovered, I thought this inline fuse was something that was thrown in after the fact. No, it actually is inline, and it's a 0.1 amp fuse, so it's a 100 milliamp fuse. I had to use my phone camera and zoom in to actually read that. So I'm curious to see if this camera is going to pick it up or not. So this is pretty straightforward under the hood. Except that I don't have any decent light in this shop. I should. I just never, I don't know. I don't know why. I put up enough lights, but they never seem to be in the right spot, depending where I'm working. So this is my tach. We're going to leave the light part out. The red is going to go to any brown, and a lot of these depending on your machine, but some of these are open, so you just plug straight in. And then my yellow with white is going to go on the black. Oh yeah, it's actually going to go right here. So it's going to go from the key switch, the black side. The other side of the key is your white wire, that's your kill switch. Yeah, these two go together, so I'm going to fire this thing up, make sure I got a working tach. And I'm still waiting on confirmation that I can get that starter. I don't really want to go any further until that starter's in my hand. Then I'll pull the motor and start doing more. I'd like to jump the gun and go ahead and wire everything, but yeah, I need it in my hand and know it works and know it bolts in before I can go any further. I'm just looking for the tach. I just want to see the tach work. Yeah, of course the key's on. It works. Okay, can install that. Nice. I couldn't show it, but it did work. So that will be my next thing. I'm going to pop that hole out, install my tach, which is kind of nice. It's one more thing that I can knock off the list. I'm still waiting on these switches. No, this switch. I ordered a double pull, double throw, and a single pull, double throw. I ordered a bunch of each. Of course, the wrong ones came in right away. The double pull, double throw. I could throw it in, but that'd be a waste. So at least I can get my tach installed. So I was wondering if there's a way to test these tachs. This is my spare, and I didn't want to fire the machine up again. And I got a function generator, so I thought I'd throw it on there. I've got it set for sine wave, these are my standard settings for testing other things, but I'm at a 1 kilohertz range. I don't know if that's right or not. And amplitude is all the way down. So this is my signal. And we'll see what happens. It's moving. Okay, so I can vary the amplitude. Maybe. There we go. So it works. And that's it. I'd have to put a meter on there to see what kind of voltage I'm playing with and frequency. I'm not going to mess with any of that. I just wanted to know if that needle would move, and it does. So I'm happy with that. And all I did was I just varied the amplitude a little bit, starting at 0. Good enough. What? I use this so rarely. It seemed like it didn't want to turn off. Okay, so this one works. Okay, so now that I know I have a working tach, which is awesome. A lot of these plastic parts are impossible to get, and I would hate to drill into yet another panel just for a tach. So I do have a perfect panel from a liquefier with no extra holes, except the middle one. I was thinking, obviously I can't run temperature because it's air cooled, or can I? It'd be really nice to fill that center and get some kind of temperature reading on the engine so it doesn't blow up again. And I think I have a solution right here. So this display would fit beautifully. Well, not beautifully, but I can make that display fit in there with the backing plate, and I wouldn't have to drill any holes into the plastic. So I can do that. Come on, work with me. And it runs off a 9-volt battery, and the beautiful part about that is I can throw in 12 volt 12 to 9, a 9-volt regulator, so I can run it off the engine. Obviously I'd have to disassemble completely. I think this whole tunnel, I do believe this tunnel is important, so when I do my surgery, I think I'd probably have to cut it somewhere along here. Separate the display from this part, get rid of the handle and the trigger so that this thing would be always on with the key. And all I really need to do, because the number 1 cylinder is going to always run cooler, I just need to catch the edge of number 2. And then the question is going to be, how hot is too hot? Well, I don't know exactly. I kind of know, the melting point of pistons, but how hot is too hot? I can get a baseline just letting it run idle. outside, obviously, and kind of figure out a number. So yeah, I actually can get temperature readings off of this engine, or at least I would want to get it off number 2. The best way to do that is to check between 1 and 2. Normal idle between 1 from 1 and what it's running at number 2, and then give the engine a little bit of workout and see what it does. Gives me some good baseline readings, and I could even get, if I wanted to get really fancy, I'm pretty sure I could have an overheat cutoff. That might take a little bit of work, but if this temperature here reads too high, and I could have it adjustable, obviously start low, then I could really protect this old engine, that if it does blow up, because I've already done way too many things to it to make it run too hot, I could have a high temp kill on it. That would be neat. And I have nothing but time right now in my shop. I don't have, it's all personal projects right now. Unless something comes up with work, then all this stuff goes on the back burner. It all gets yanked out of here. But I don't see anything happening anytime soon, so I kind of like that. A high temp cutoff. I'm not sure yet how I would do that, but it's definitely doable. So we'll see. I do have to be careful with is I'm asking a lot out of my little stator, my little alternator. So I can't get too crazy on this. I'm going to have to pay attention to current draw and all this stuff, because that little stator is meant to run a light. Now I do get a little bit back because I don't have a tail light, and I'm not going to run a tail light. So I get some of that back for current draw. But I'm also adding a tach. However, these things did come with a tach apparently, so I should still be well within what that stator can put out, as long as I don't do anything else. With the high, if I did a high temp cutoff, I would need a relay. It would have to power a circuit board and a relay to, that could be a temporary thing though, 5-second timer to apply kill. Yeah, just to trip the kill switch, just to cut the engine. Yeah, so that would just be a short burst of current. Alright, the more I think about it, the more it's getting built in my head. Yes, and one thing, wrapping up for the night. When I was working on this thing, like, I always knew there was a piece missing here, but it only now occurred to me that that's actually pretty significant to the airflow across the motor. Like, the intake is good through the fan, but this piece, and I'm not sure what it should look like, but this should be capturing the air coming through, and it should be going out these fins. Although that seems like kind of a design flaw. But either way, this air should be moving. I wonder, was this a John Deere design flaw? Because when you're hauling butt, air is going to catch these fins and come in. But air is also coming in this way through the fan across the motor, and it needs to exhaust away. So as air flows this way, if there was a, not if, there was definitely a piece across here where the air flows, it gets trapped in here and it should vent out through these fins, but it can't. If you're moving forward, you got air coming in this way, air trying to go out this way. Is that a design flaw? So there's no way that's going to work right. I'm wondering if maybe that's why this piece got removed altogether. But definitely that airflow should get contained. But it also needs a way to vent out. And that's not going to happen through here. So I got to make this as efficient and keep this engine running as long as possible. I got to make a choice. I either got to rework these fins so that they go the other way, or I have to duct this somehow so that this entire airflow goes out of the machine. And I don't really see an option this way, like going down. This is all going to be covered, one with the belt and the belt cover. This whole piece should be cut and flipped so that all of the air, instead of air coming in this way, the air under the hood should be coming out that way. Because it makes no sense any other way. As air flows in through this side, a fan blows it across the motor, and as that air wants to go out, it can't go out this way, because if you're moving, you've got outside air pushing it, so that would force everything across the belt, which would be okay. But that the cowling that was on here, if that covered it up, that would stall the air completely. I wonder if that's why that cylinder melted down. So removing the cowling makes everything drive across the belt. Maybe I don't have to rework anything. But, yeah, maybe I don't. Maybe just that piece. Because if it drives across the belt, then it can come out here. So that would make more sense. So as the air comes across the engine, as long as you're moving forward, this air comes across, essentially creating a little bit of a vacuum and blowing out this way. So whatever piece was here either helped to duct everything. Maybe it's not a design flaw. I need pictures of what this cowling looked like. Because if this was made right, then the air would flow all the way through. So without that piece, potentially the air is not going to flow the way it should. Alright, now I'm done.